uh, these women that I got pregnant, that I do not want to be a father to these children.
Whew. Now, it's a lot to unpack in that video. If you haven't seen it, you should go and check it out. It's a real viral sensation right now. So, let's unpack some of those things. Now, it's a couple of things I'm going to kind of talk about, but let's just get some of that out the way. First and foremost, dude is very, very, very self-aware. He's very aware of who and what he is and what his true feelings are, and he doesn't have any shame or guilt about it. And he's also aware of his own abilities and how he is able to get in with these women and continue to be in this situation. And he doesn't seem to change anything about it because he hasn't suffered dire enough consequences to feel the need to want to change his ways. Now, with all of that being said, brother's a supervillain. This is the villain in our communities. This is your common everyday villain, but it's also understanding it's a necessary evil. Now, I say that this is a necessary evil because he's pretty much carrying out his purpose. See, a lot of times we have to understand that the villain or the adversary or the opposition is always necessary in the story. Somebody like this is the origin story for a lot of hurt women, a lot of children who grew up with a lot of trauma, because he's perpetuating cycles and continuing on cycles of generational trauma and things of that nature. Now, also, everybody in the situation is playing a part in it. Everybody is to blame. It's not just one blame, everybody's to blame. And he's pretty okay with it because he acknowledges that we both made the decision irresponsibly to lay down unprotected, and we made this baby. Now, I'm just going to tell you that I don't want to have the child and you should go and get the abortion. But the woman is faced with her own conflict, her own internal conflict of having to deal with the choice of, do I want to terminate this life or do I want to keep it, despite the situation, circumstances of a man avidly stating that he doesn't want to have said baby. Now, I don't like the fact that he alluded to this being the women's fault, because it's not all the women's fault, bro. It's everybody's fault. But the thing about why he's a villain is he don't care about it being his fault. He don't care about the role that he play in it, because he's putting it off on the woman, saying, you choosing to carry the baby, not realizing the burden of her having to carry the decision of keeping the baby or not. Now let's go back to the action involved of everybody who choosing to lay down with each other. This is a very, very, very high value lesson that a lot of us need to learn in our communities, and that we need to put some focus on and understand what's going on and what's happening within the relationships and the families in our communities. Now, this is a very high value lesson, and it should be a cautionary tale for a lot of men and women. And we should reevaluate the things that we look for and who we're dealing with when we're having sexual relationships with people. Because a lot of the things that he said, it wasn't wrong, which is why he makes a villain, and which is why he's necessary evil, because he's not lying in what he's saying. Now, his character and his actions, we can judge that, and we understand that we know that he's wrong for his actions. But a lot of those things that said is a lot of things that we need to learn and we have to accept for ourselves, so that we can become better. He said they both made a choice to lay down and have sex unprotected. You can't be surprised when a baby is made. I'm always iffy kind of touching on relationship things and stuff like that, because although I'm a mother of 4 and a wife for the past 13 years, I honestly do not understand a lot of y'all concepts of intimacy and the relationships that y'all choose to have sexually with other people. Now, I'm not judging, but you do have to look at the consequences of your actions and your choices, right? Because, some of y'all would just put y'all mouth on strangers and people that y'all don't even know, and then you wonder why them people acting crazy, or y'all might end up, with somebody who told you that they only wanted to have sex with you, but you just expecting to change their mind with the sex, and it doesn't work, and you might end up with a baby. And that's something else that I don't get, because having a baby by a man is not going to change his mind, and it's not going to allow you to control him either. All you're doing is starting or perpetuating a cycle of the same circumstances or the conditions that you was already in, that you really should be working yourself out of. Somewhere in the back of your mind, as a man or a woman, you got to say to yourself, there's a chance that I could get pregnant, or I could get this person pregnant. And y'all don't be knowing these people. Y'all don't know their family. Y'all don't know where they come from. You don't know what they care about. You don't know their values. You don't know their goals, their aspirations. You don't even know if you can support them in what they want to do. You don't know the illnesses, the disease, the generational traumas that's existing in their bloodline. And that's just because people are led by their flesh. They can't control their urges and impulses. He said all he had to do was the bare minimum. And those women gave him access to their body. And that was a very harsh truth. That was a hard thing for him to say. But it's true. And you have to make a man earn the right to lay down with you. Earn the right to get between your legs. You grant that man access to heaven. And once you grant them access to your body in that way, that bond that y'all create, that sexual tie is going to be with you forever. You see, I live by the understanding that you create your own reality based on your own mind and thoughts. And when you hold yourself to that type of accountability, you always got to reflect back on yourself. You see, you always contribute to your situation. You're the common denominator in your life. So when it comes to situations like this, you have to reflect back on yourself and understand who and what you are to attract what you brought into your life.